All right, y'all. Ain't no how Steppin Marcus J is live. We in the building. About to get this in. Got a very, very special show for y'all tonight. We got a special guest in the building, and we're going to start off the show by asking, what is a move maker? We about to tell y'all, and we got a lot to get into. Y'all saw the news last week. Y'all know what's going on in New York and Ferguson. You know we're going to get into it. And you know how Steppin Marcus J is right now.
Open your ears, strap on your thinking cap. Socially conscious talk that's entertaining with a dash of humor and the top sports stories of the week. It's time for Ain't No Half Steppin' with Marcus J.
Sellers has Jordan. Jordan with 2 seconds to go. Puts it up and scores at the buzzer. Michael Jordan has won it for Chicago. Manning lobs it. Burris alone. Touchdown, New York.
Down goes Frazier. Down goes Frazier. Down goes Frazier. He hits one deep to right center. That ball is out of here. The Yankees win the pennant.
If they lying,
then they must be half stepping.
Ain't no half stepping with Marcus J is live, back in the building, and be down with us. 804-402-2893 to be down with the flagship show of Legacy Internet Radio, right here in the den. Call us up, be down with us. We appreciate everybody that's listening to us tonight. We got a live show, a hot show. I don't know if y'all can hear it in my voice, but your boy is excited because of all the stuff that we're going to be talking about tonight. We got a special guest in the building that we're going to introduce here momentarily. We're going to talk about a whole lot of stuff tonight. We're going to talk about cops killing black people. We're going to talk about Fox News saying stupid stuff. We're going to talk about $27,000 getting spent in the most craziest ways that you can think of. And we also going to get into Russia banning black soccer players. Why did they do that? Actually, it's one, so I should say players. I should just say one. But that's the what the hell. That's a little tease, and it's only some of it. We got a lot more to get into, but I always like to make sure that I got everybody introduced and I got the crew set up so you know who you're dealing with on Ain't No Half Steppin' with Marcus J. Special thanks to everybody that's hit us up on our website, legacyinternetradio.com. Special thanks to everybody who's checking us out live right now on your TuneIn application. If you have not figured out how to do that on mobile, download the app. Search Legacy Internet Radio. There we go. You hear the sound of my voice. Thank you to everybody that's listening to us on our replays on YouTube as well. So hopefully I've got all of my thank yous out of the way, and so I can introduce the crew. Y'all heard her just now on the intro, and you can hear her live on Ain't No Half Steppin' with Marcus J every second Monday of the month. You got my sister and friend Miss Tony's in the building. What's up, girl?
How you doing?
I'm doing good, man. How you doing?
Fine. I'm trying not to feel grinchy.
Oh man, I live for being a Grinch. That's how I roll, man. I would paint myself green if I could. I'm a Grinch.
I know.
That's how I roll.
I'm aware you're a Grinch in June, but
yeah, man.
For me, it's just December.
Because December just annoys the hell out of me. How people just act crazy with these stuff, and isn't it like Thanksgiving this month? What is it like? Valentine's Day this month?
It's Easter.
Yeah, it's Easter. I knew it was like some
Passover.
kind of weird old pagan holiday going on this month. But I saw the calendar. I saw something, but I couldn't remember.
Yeah.
Because it's not that important. But I'm digging the shirt. Yeah, but what?
Oh, yeah. Okay, so in my regular job, we had a training on, I can't remember what it was, and it was done by our attorney, one of our attorneys. And so I, again, can't remember what the training was, but it was something about not saying but. So it was yeah, but, and then the back says, like, see page, whatever. So, yeah.
Yeah, but.
That's my team won. We won Jeopardy.
Look at you. You're all competitive. You made sure to let us know that your team won.
Yeah, and I answered the question. It was like the Daily Double.
Why are you acting like that, though, for real?
You would too, sucker.
Yeah, I would, because I'm competitive.
Yeah.
And I'm a game bully. Like if I was out there, I would like. I'm a game bully. Really? Like seriously, I would be out there trying to make sure that I won. I would like copy off your paper and everything. Like
Well,
I'm that
and
guy.
see, nobody else takes the game as seriously as I do. So, like, I had to like step up, and I did the daily double. We won. Then everybody was like, "Oh, we won! Y'all suck 'cause I want to play."
That's because people always want to be down with a winner. They'll sit around and not say a word
True that.
when you dragging along, but then when it comes down to it really going down where you have an opportunity to win, they like, ooh, I'm on that team.
Yep.
That's how you got all these Cowboy fans in the world.
There you
Steelers
go.
fans in the world. Yeah,
Hey,
I said it.
Hey, we
I
don't you
said
get
it.
look. You need to make it to the second half. So
Ain't nobody scared of you. You across the table, girl. You know how quick it is for me to get past you. That's what it is. Ain't no half step with Marcus J. All right. I want to go ahead and take the opportunity to introduce the brother who we have in the building with us. I'm definitely excited to talk to him. I asked the question, what is a move maker? And we're going to get the answer to that question right here and right now. So without any further ado, I want to welcome to the building my brother, Mr. Big Nod is here. What's up, man?
Yeah, what's up? What's happening? What's happening, everybody?
It's good to see you, man.
Yeah, thanks, man. Thanks. Glad to be on your show, man.
I'm
You know
glad
what
to
I'm
have
saying?
you on.
Been a long time coming.
Well, we have talked a few times about
Yeah.
making sure that we made this happen,
So
but I
here
think
now.
I think we solidified it about 6 days ago.
Yeah.
And and so I'm glad to look across the table and see you here. So
Definitely had to make a move, man.
yeah,
Move
well, that's what
makers.
move makers do.
Yeah,
So
definitely.
I ain't gonna waste no time. First
Yeah.
off, I want to put the phone number out there. So if anybody's listening, you can hit us up on social media on the Ain't No Half Step on Marcus J page, on the Legacy Internet Radio page, on our personal pages. If you know us, holler at us, or if you want to call, feel free to do that. 804-402-2893 is the number to dial. But I just want to take some time, find out from you about you and about what you do. So starting it off, Move Makers. What is Move Makers?
Move makers is basically a brother like you, brother like me. You know what I'm saying? Move makers is one who's built for success. Is have a conscious mind frame of knowledge of self.
Right.
That understands that he is a king.
That's
and
real
she
talk.
is
You know
a
what?
queen,
When you say
you know?
king and queen, like people get it mixed up.
Yeah.
That's real talk. Right there.
Definitely. Knowledge of self and knowing where you come from, knowing your past, you know what I'm saying? So you'll know what's going on in the present.
Right.
So you know where we're going in the future.
Right.
You know what I mean? And like I said, man, you gotta have knowledge of self and be a man with a plan. With a plan, you're precise with your life.
Right.
And you take, step by step the things you want to do
Right.
and manifest your accomplishments, and you're a move maker.
That's what's
and
up.
it come in levels and degrees.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? People got different qualities, mind frames, the quality of thoughts and stuff like that. And some people dream big, some people dream smaller. Some people vision bigger, vision smaller. You know what I'm saying? So, by you being a king and knowing that you're a king, you'll think higher.
Right.
You'll think bigger. You know what I'm saying? And by having a group of people, being amongst a group of people that think like you,
Right.
and unifying, that makes a God force.
Oh, I can dig that.
And
I
a God force
and
can
I-
make things move.
And I hear you.
And
I hear you.
as one group, we are move makers, and we can make the world shake.
Where did you come
Right.
up with Move Makers? Like how did you found it? I mean,
Move
what was
Makers-
what was the thing that made you say this is what we gonna go with?
Ever since I've been a youngin', man, I was trained to be a hustler.
Right.
My mom raised me up picking up cans. Everybody playing outside and stuff like that. I had to go pick up cans.
Right.
Side of the road and stuff like that, man. Take them to the recycling bin and get money, stuff like that. She had me out there fishing and, selling fish and, cleaning them up, scaling them, cutting their heads off so we can sell them and
put
stuff
you
like
to
that.
work as
Yeah.
Lil Nod.
Yeah, little knot, man. So she instilled the hustler spirit, and she used to, she was a seamstress and stuff like that, and she was in the Moore Science Temple as well.
Okay.
So I grew up in the Moore Science Temple, and she also took me to church as well and all that stuff like that. So I grew up with, a level of consciousness, but a little confusion there. So I went on my own traveling and, investigating knowledge and stuff like that, and information, and learning a lot of new things.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And so, all putting it together, with the knowledge and the information I have and the hustler spirit, the entrepreneur spirit, just been making things happen. And every time I turn around, I hear myself, man, I got to make a move. Got to make a move. Got to make a move. You know what I mean? So, Movemakers.
Movemakers.
You know what
now,
I mean?
when you mentioned that was something that Lil Nod kind of already knew.
Yeah.
As far as the official, whether you can say organization or I don't want to coin your phrase. You tell me what Movemakers is officially, but tell us about how that part came about and the moves that you made as an entrepreneur to kind of put it in motion.
Basically, I was trying to come up with the music I have going on. I have the street conscious movement,
Right.
and the street conscious, is like street disciples, being wise and stuff like that. Street wise, coming from the street and trying to make the right moves to get out of the street. You know what I mean? And make better moves, being an entrepreneur and stuff like that, and converting.
Right.
And so and I always had a little clothing line. My first clothing line was Live Wire. Live Wire Pearl. We had a little record label back in the day called Live Wire Records. So, over time I wanted to reinvent myself and things like that. Went through some trials and tribulations with the music business.
Right.
And wanted to reinvent myself. So, I wanted to dig more deeper into myself. And now I was older and all that stuff like that. What can I run with that's going to tie into everything that I want to do?
Right.
You know what I'm saying? On many levels, as well as the consciousness. So Movemakers actually fit in that for me. So I was like, yeah, I'm going to run with that. You know what I mean? Because, the Movemakers and the shakers of the world are the power players of the world.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? They the ones that control a lot of things and have the big influence on people. You know what I mean? And I was like, this is something that's common that, small detail nobody never thought about coming out with. So I said, hold on, let me
do something with it.
let me snatch that up and then go ahead and run with it, because it should be undeniable, because everybody should consider themselves as a move maker, some shape, form, or fashion.
But it's funny, man. Sometimes it's so obvious and so right in your face, you miss it.
Exactly.
You know what
I
I'm saying?
mean? Exactly.
So tell the listeners of Ain't No Half Step on Marcus J live on Legacy Internet Radio how they can be a move maker with regards to the apparel.
So with the apparel is the mindset. First, because when you see the clothing, you see powerful symbols. You see symbols of crowns, you see symbols of triangles, circles, squares, and stuff like that. These are powerful symbols. You know what I mean? So when you rocking that move maker gear, you got to represent it right. You know what I'm saying? You got to make sure you're making the right decisions, making the right moves and stuff like that, because it's not like you rocking some gear with somebody's name on it, like Sean John or, Ralph Lauren or somebody's name. This actually means something. So when I throw this on, this is how I feel.
Right.
I'm about to go out here in the morning and make some moves, whether I'm going to work, to your regular job, or whether you got your hustle or trade, you know what I mean, or, whatever type of business you got going on. But you can check out some of that gear, man, on MoveMakersClothing.com. Movemakers Clothing on Instagram, and Movemakers Clothing on Facebook, and also we got a new info commercial we just put out. Big shout out to SWAT Films Productions. You know what I'm saying? So you can check that out on YouTube. Movemakers Clothing on YouTube, and man, if you want to be a part of the movement, man, just support. You know what I mean? We can always connect and see what we can do to make moves in the community, because that's what we all about as well. I got a nonprofit organization that I started that's connected with move makers called BBC, Brotherhood, Business, and Charity. And also we have the Sisterhood, Business, and Charity. All of this is connected with it also. And we're going to be doing a lot of things in the community as well.
I can definitely dig that. That's one of the things that I always make sure that I preach, for lack of a better term, to our crew here at Legacy and Radio, that we need to make sure that we give back, because, I feel that we have an obligation to do that. And our obligations, of course, we know are paramount. you mentioned a minute ago that you do some street conscious hip hop, and so I want to talk a little bit about that. Tell me about Big Nod, the rapper.
Yeah.
I'm an old school hip hopper, so I don't really prefer the term rapper. I prefer the term MC. So I'm gonna refer to you as such. So tell me about the MC Big Nod. Who is he?
The MC Big Nod, like I said, he's a street conscious brother. You know what I'm saying? He was always that brother that's going to give you both sides of the table.
Right.
You know what I mean? Because I'm just going to totally keep it real. I'm not going to front like, everything was super raw, hardcore, and gangster. I'm not going to act like, I wasn't in the Moore Science Temple. I wasn't not going to act like I didn't go to church, you know what I'm saying, and stuff like that. But I did participate in some negative activities as well, you know what I'm saying? So, for whatever reasons, and it was personal, but I lived and learned.
Right.
You know what I mean? And I experienced some things and knew how to grow out of those things.
Right.
You know what I mean? And I want to influence and inspire others, the young people that you can sometimes do wrong right.
Right. If you get a lesson.
Yeah.
There's
always a better way of doing things, and I'm always about success and stuff like that, and trying to do things the right way. So that was street consciousness, but it's all about being conscious about what you're doing.
Right.
Don't do things in a stupid manner.
Right.
You know what I mean?
I'm going to ask you some stuff in a minute that I've been wanting to ask someone that's in the hip hop community. So I'm not going to put you on the spot and assume that you represent everybody. But I want to know what Big Nod thinks about it. But before I do that, I do want to give the listeners an opportunity to hear you and to know who Big Nod, the hip hop artist, the MC is. So I got a clip from Money on My Mind. Tell me about Money on My Mind and what the listeners about to hear.
Money on My Mind, that's an intro right there to the album. The album's called Make Moves or Die. It's coming real soon. Make Moves or Die. It's a serious thing. This is where I'm at in life. This is where we all at in life. For real, with a lot of stuff that's going on. And for real, it's like you're going to put up or shut up. You know what I mean? You're going to get serious and make some moves and make some things happen. It's all about just getting that money and just showing what I'm about. You know what I'm saying? Who I am as an entrepreneur.
Money on My Mind, Big Nod. Take a listen. We right here. We ain't going nowhere. You know how Steppin Marcus J. Check out our guest, Money on Our Mind.
Money on my mind, money on my mind. Early in the morning with that money on my mind. Money on my mind, with that money on my mind. Early in the morning with that money on my mind. I hustle this and I hustle that. Grinding this and I'm grinding that. Working this and I'm working that. So I open this and I open that. Serving this and I'm serving that. Purchase this and I purchase that. Copying this and I'm copying that. So I'm flossing this and I'm flossing that. Check it out, I'm flipping this and I'm flipping that. Risking this and I'm risking that. Ducking this and I'm dodging that. Stacking this and I'm stacking that. Making this and I'm making that. Owning this and I'm owning that. Showing this and just where it's at. So I'm flouncing this and I'm flouncing that. Make moves so die. Only the strong survive. Move makers gon' rise through the lows and highs. Hustling, steady hustling for the piece of the devil's pie. Struggling, steady struggling every day to stay alive. All about my business. About the cash relentless. It's my turn, nigga, my turn. I pass it off and I'm in it. More cash, more bucks. Blowing loud, I burn it up. Hit the block, I turn it up. I'm the hustle man, I hustle up. I got money on my mind, money on my mind. Early in the morning, get that money on my mind. Money on my mind, money on my mind. Early in the morning, get that money on my mind. I hustle this and I hustle that. Grinding this and I'm grinding that. Working this and I'm working that. So I open this and I open that. Serving this and I'm serving that. Purchase this and I purchase that. Copying this and I'm copying that. So I'm flossing this and I'm flossing that. I got money on my mind. Money on my mind. Early in the morning with that
Money on the Mind. That's my man, Big Nod, right there. I'm digging that right there, man. So when you wrote that, what were you feeling during that period?
When I was feeling, man, I was just feeling like when I wake up early in the morning, this is what I do. This was on my mind. Barely can sleep at night because I'm planning something else. I got this to do. I got that to do. You know, so, you know, just all the things that I do in life, you know what I mean, with the job, with, you know, I cut hair, I'm a barber, you know what I mean, cleaning services, you know what I mean.
So you were born
clothing
hustler.
line.
You're born hustler.
Yeah.
So let me get this straight.
Yeah.
All right, let me get your hustles down. So you're a barber.
Yeah.
You're an entrepreneur.
Yeah.
You on at least your second apparel line.
Yeah.
You just said cleaning service.
Yeah.
And you were a hip hop artist.
Hip hop artist, you know what I mean? And I also work at UPS too.
You West Indian
all
man.
around, all around. I mean, I call it my personal 3-part triangle. You know what I'm saying? Like 3-part triangle is like, you know, at the bottom you got job, and at the bottom you got trade or hustle.
Right.
At the top point you got residual income.
Right.
So, you know, that's the ultimate goal, to lead to residual income.
Right.
You know, so
I can dig it.
You know, put my work in, my time in to my residual income, get to a nice point where, you know, I can invest into a lot of other things, you know.
I can dig it. Ain't no how stepping with Marcus J. Live from the den of Legacy Internet Radio. We the flagship show here on Legacy Internet Radio. To be part of the discussion, if you can hear the sound of Big Nod and Marcus J, definitely hit us up in social media. Call us by phone 804-402-2893. We'll take your call. Now, I want to kind of transition the conversation a little bit, Big Nod, because I want to talk about your experience or your thought process as a hip hop artist, and I want to kind of get your opinion on not specifically your peers, more generally your peers in the business. And when we look at some of the things that are going on in the world today, which we're going to talk more specifically about in later segments, but more generally, when we look at what's going on in Ferguson, Missouri, where the police officer Darren Wilson was not indicted in what I like to call a murder. They don't want you to call it murder because that's a legal term, but hey, look,
definitely was murder.
He was killed, which is legitimate. The legal term is murder, but hey, I ain't a lawyer, so I can make the mistake of calling it murder if I want to.
Yeah, definitely.
And then freedom of speech, right? How about that? And then the same case, same type of case in New York City. Last week, they decided that they would not indict the officer in the killing, murder, death of Eric Garner. In this case, they actually had video of it where you can see the entire interaction between the officer as well as the deceased. And so what I want to ask you is, when you look at a city like Ferguson, which we know is a suburb of St. Louis, and we ain't got to call the dude out, but we know that there's a very prominent hip-hop star that's from that area. And then you look at New York, we ain't got to call nobody out. We already know about New York. Do you, in your opinion, and this is just your opinion, do you think that rappers, athletes, entertainers have a duty to speak or to say anything, or as civilians, they can just kind of keep it moving like the rest of us would?
I mean, it's a choice. You know what I'm saying? I think it's a personal choice, but personally to me, I think they do have a duty, obligation, because they in a power position of influence.
Right.
You know, they the guiding lights. You know, and whatever they say, a lot of people going to follow. You know what I mean? One platinum artist can say something and 1 million people will listen to it. You know what I'm saying? Like, if let's say this big rapper in St. Louis,
we can call him out.
Tell everybody.
We can call Nelly out.
Okay, if Nelly said, you know, make sure don't burn down nothing. You know what I mean? Don't burn down nothing. Just don't spend no money for 2-3 days. Y'all really want to get back at them, you know what I mean? Just do it like that.
Right.
Let's hurt their pocket.
Right.
You know what I mean? Shut everything down for a little while. You know, then our voice will be heard.
Right.
You know what I mean? And, you know, it's just about what do Nelly have the right knowledge.
Right.
You know, but then again, it's all about money.
Right.
And Nelly being secure, so he might have took a little oath himself to not say anything, you know what I'm saying, for his own good. So he probably be thinking about himself just like all the rest of the entertainers.
And the same
You know what
with
I mean?
New York, and I'll call out Jay-Z because when I had this discussion, you know, I wasn't shy about calling folks out by name, and I'm certainly not going to be shy on the air. I wasn't sure if you was cool with it, but now that I see that you are, we can talk about it. When you look at someone who can make a point of being visible when it's time to say the New Jersey Nets is moving to Brooklyn, we can see you then. We can see you when you are repping a borough, but we can't see you when someone in a neighboring borough, you know, takes the fall at the hands of the people who took an oath to protect and serve. Me personally, I hate when people say me personally. That's a double. It's a double. But I just don't like it.
Yeah.
And in my opinion, I want your opinion on this. When you look at Nelly and you look at Jay-Z, and I'm gonna pick on those two individually. In my opinion, they have a greater duty to be visible, is because those communities produce them. Yeah. Not just you came from Marcy Projects in Brooklyn produced them. I'm talking about every single kid in Brooklyn knows the words to Can't Knock the Hustle, Hard Knock Life, my personal favorite 30-something, because I'm beyond that, so I can relate to it. But these are the people that's rocking your joints. When you in your limousine sitting outside the Waldorf Astoria or wherever it is you going, it ain't nothing for you to hear your joint in the car next to you. To me, that gives you a greater duty to open up your mouth and say something to represent the people that been repping you. As an artist, what you think about that? Am I out of line? Am I overstating?
I mean, you right, and a lot of people start off with good intentions. But the further you go up, the more your good intentions get twisted and turned the opposite way. And then you come to the crossroads where you have to make a choice. Right. Whether you're going to keep those intentions or switch it up. And then you got to make a decision whether you want the most. It's just like, you know, the church. Or you're going to be a doctor. Right. Or, you know, lawyer, anything. It's like the church can't talk about the government. Can't talk about against the president. You know what I'm saying? The doctors can't give you the right remedies. Right. You know, tell you what right medicines or herbs to use. Right. You know what I'm saying? Because it go against everything. It go against the big corporation, the big beast.
Well, we know about that with the church. It was, it was about that 501c that they signed.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, so we know with the church, it was 100% about money, because now that they got that tax exempt status, they were told, or it's part of that tax exempt status, that they can't be partisan, which is the reason why they can't open up their mouths. Some of my detractors, because I've had this discussion with folks, and some of my detractors have told me that for me to take that position is disingenuous, simply because you can't judge another man's heart. You can't judge what another man or woman feels and what they are going to do, and you never know what they are doing. My response to them is, if I'm visible about rocking 30-something in my car and everybody can hear it, I think that it's okay for you to be visible to say, at the very least, the fact that the officers were not indicted is a problem. And I'm speaking to you, Sean Jay-Z Carter. To that, you say what?
Hey, I say speak out, man. Say it's a problem. You know, I mean, actually, somebody's going to leak it through one of their lines. You know, be slick with it. But they're not going to be blunt with it. You know what I mean? They're always trying to be slick. Right. You know what I mean? They're going to express themselves in their little situations that they're in and stuff like that. But at the same time, what are you really going to do about it? Right. Well, I think they're not going to do nothing.
Well, the artists,
all their little toys.
Yeah, the artists want.
You know what I mean? They're going to say something slick, though.
Well, they'll tell you, one of the other things that I get told a lot is, you never know what they're doing. Look at, you know, the fact that this one or that one has purchased this many turkeys at Thanksgiving, or this many, you know, trees at Christmas, or the fact that they...
Man, these people need that stuff every day, man.
They do, but I guess the point I'm making is, I just think you got to be visible. Like, you
Yeah.
got to be seen doing that.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not in agreement with once a year you want to give out some Christmas toys and some turkeys
Once a
and stuff
year.
like that. I mean, come on, man. You know what I'm saying? Once a year. You know what I'm saying? What about once or twice a month?
But even if you do it once
know?
or twice a month, I think that once or twice a year you should be seen doing it.
Yeah.
Because to me, and I can only speak, I'm 40 years old. I'm out of the demographic of the common hip hopper. And with respect to folks younger than me, I'm at a point where I understand all of this, but I also understand that because I can make my own decisions about stuff. But I know that younger folks oftentimes are swayed by what their favorite rapper or singer or entertainer, whether it be a movie star, whatever. People are influenced by that. And I think you need to understand that. That's why when I heard Charles Barkley say when I was in my 20s that I'm not a role model, I was probably in my teens when he said I'm not a role model, I knew then that was way wrong. Because once you go on television and once you draw the people in where they are supporting you with their money and their time, and in the case of sports, their tears, whether they be for joy or for pain, you are a role model.
Definitely.
You a role model,
Definitely.
Big Nod.
Yeah.
I have become one as well for those folks who listen to this show, and I think that there's a greater duty about that. Ain't no how stepping with Marcus J. What do you think about that?
I think it's a duty for everyone to look at themselves like a role model. Period. Like I said, it come in levels and degrees, and no matter what level you on, because somebody's always watching you, and you're always influencing somebody. You know, it's especially the youth.
Right.
You know what I mean? Whether it's the children in your circle or neighborhood or what have you. You know what I mean? And we always have to be conscious of the moves we making, decisions we making, the steps we making, and stuff like that. Because no matter what we doing, we influencing people. And like I said, that's very important, your character and your representation, you know what I'm saying, of who you are, and don't sell yourself short.
Right.
You know what I'm saying, for your purpose and your true intentions.
Right.
And like we said, a lot of the major artists and stuff like that, they might have started off good. Just like in the church, a lot of preachers and stuff might start off with good intentions and, want to, lead people to God and all that stuff like that. But when they get to a certain point and the money come in and, the women and all that stuff like that, they lose sight. They lose sight of God because they feel like they God themselves.
Right.
And the power go to their head, and they lose all the good intentions that they had. Now they manipulating people and getting over people, people and stuff like that, and less than children and all types of wicked stuff.
Ain't no telling the stuff.
Because when you get into something, is always some good inside some bad, and some bad inside some good. So whatever you feel is good, once you get in the eye tornado of that, deep into it, you take upon the good, but you're going to bear the bad too.
Right. And
you have to be conscious and always stay cautious of that, you know what I mean, and know how to, stay in control, get the good out there, and move on to the next thing.
Right.
And just use it as a tool, to, perfect what you're doing.
Ain't no how stepping with Marcus J. Live from the Den, Legacy Internet Radio. Thank you to everybody that's listening to Big Nod and Marcus J. kind of build about a whole bunch of stuff here. 804-402-2893 is the number to dial to be a part of the discussion. If you're listening, you want to get something in on social media, feel free to do so. I got another question that I wanted to ask Big Nod, the hip-hop artist, the MC. Somewhere around, and this is me going off the dome with my own personal experience, somewhere around 1991 or so, I noticed a very distinct shift in hip hop. Mm-hmm. It took most of the 90s to completely flesh itself out, but I noticed it beginning around 1991. I didn't feel it when it was going on, but I certainly can reflect upon it now that I can look at it with mature eyes as opposed to someone being engrossed in the culture. And that shift was you started moving away from a socially conscious type of hip hop artist where you had cats like Chuck D and KRS-One, and you had X-Clan and a lot of cats like that. And you started seeing more of the bling type of artists start to take over. A lot of the gangster hip hop artists start to take over. And that's not to say that those artists weren't there prior. Because to be honest with you, most people would disagree with this if you under 35 or so. But LL Cool J, to me, was the first boastful, I got everything you want type of rapper. I mean, predate Biggie, predate Mace, all of them cats. And you had
Kane,
Kane too. Yeah, Kane too.
Yeah.
And so you saw that shift away from consciousness to, I could beat you up, and I got more than you, and the ladies called out their name and all of that stuff, taking a more dominant position in hip hop as opposed to the balance that you saw in the 80s. Speak to that for me. Tell me what your opinion of why that happened and how Big Nod, the artist, decided that he wasn't going to participate in that.
See, like I said, everything kind of like starts off with
See, they all want him.
Yeah.
They want him. That's why they call it. They want him.
You know what I mean? Pardon me.
No, that's all right, brother. I know you're a busy man.
Start off with good intentions, you know what I mean? Then sometimes it spiral off into something else.
Right.
As it continue to grow. And when things grow, sometimes you lose control. It's like a, snowball effect, you know what I mean? And a lot of times, two things have to have balance, and sometimes we don't like the way things go, but when you're dealing with music that coming from a culture that's from the rough, it's going to be two sides. 'Cause you got different type of people. You're going to have them positive conscious heads, and you're going to have them guys out there that just straight raw and don't care. You know what I mean? But all is needed. You need them guys with the heart, them soldiers out there, and you need them guys with the consciousness. But bringing all that together, you know what I'm saying, unified, that's an army right there.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And if we could bring the hip hop community together with both sides, you know what I mean, hey, we can make some moves and be a powerful movement. Because hip hop is powerful, you know what I mean? And like we said, hip hop started off back then, a lot of the brothers that was young then, they in their 40s now.
Some of them in their 50s.
Yeah, 40s and 50s and stuff like that now.
Yeah. I guess where it gets lost on me, and maybe let me just see if I can make my point a little bit more clear. When I was coming up in the 80s and early 90s, there was the balance where you knew that you was going to get the Fresh Prince and Kwame in one little area.
Yeah.
And then you was going to get NWA, Ice-T in another little area. Then you was going to get Chuck and Chris in another little area. Then you was going to get Al and Kane in another little area. You see what I'm saying? It was so diverse back then that, like, I went to the Hip Hop Legends concert about a month ago here in the Richmond area, and I took my 11-year-old, and it blew her mind. It just absolutely blew her mind at the diversity of hip hop. We had Special Ed and Naughty and Kane and EPMD. You had all of these different types of hip hop. Yeah. Whereas now, it seems to me, and maybe this is the old head in me, but it seems like when you turn on the radio, everything sounds the same, and it's all disrespectful. It's nothing on the radio for an old school hip hopper for me, like me, to listen to. Aside from Big Nod, that's why I was digging when I told you when the song that we're going to play next, I was like, yo, I'm digging this because it was conscious. It was something that spoke to positivity and not just how many chicks you got and what bling you got and how many cats you murked out and all this craziness. So help me. I love hip hop and I want to go back to it, but I can't.
Think about this too, you got the big corporations. They're going to control things and they want things to go negative, you know what I mean? Because the negativity, that's an electronical force. It put things in motion. And once you got all that negativity going on, you got money. It leads to money in so many different ways. It's spider webs to the jails, the penitentiaries, to the graveyard, the drugs, and all that. And, they running all them big corporations. But at the same time, too, a lot of them old school artists that you name, how many of them old school artists have record labels and have artists that they've put out?
True.
You see what I'm saying? Because what's under you, it's a spawn off of you.
Right.
You know what I mean? So if those conscious heads don't make the proper business moves,
right?
As entrepreneurs in the game, a lot of them artists got jerked.
Yeah.
They didn't know their business. All they knew was the rap.
Right.
you know. But later on in years, they older now.
But I
See,
think, isn't it scary though if you know the business and you still choose the negative?
Yeah.
Because a lot of them do. You know, I don't know. Again, I think I really am coming off like the old guy right now.
No, you right. But see, the old guy is the old guys is the ones that need to father the young hip hop community, because there's no guidance, there's no one there to teach them. You see what I'm saying? And Long's brothers like us, that's why I do it. You know what I'm saying? I done grew out of that. I don't like a lot of the music that's going on right now. You know what I'm saying? They talk about a lot of, pardon me, excuse, yeah. You know what I'm saying? They talk about a lot of stuff I'm not in agreement with personally.
Right.
You know what I mean? And the whole new style of swag and all that, that's just not me. I come from the 90s, from the raw 90s. So, I'm not even with all that mess. But I love it.
Right.
I love the game. I love the music. I love to do it. And I know there's always a lot of young people that need the guidance.
Right.
Need the influence. Because if I convert out of it and say, man, I ain't messing with this stuff no more.
Right.
Then a few more artists is lost. Don't
Right.
have no influence. And they just going off of what they know.
A couple
Like,
of
they
things
don't know
that you
nothing,
touched on. Right on the money. I'm actually glad we got you because these are conversations that we've had in part but never able to flesh out with somebody who is a part of the community. And you mentioned how a lot of the music, unfortunately, are funding some of the prison systems.
Yeah.
When you look at the failing school systems that you see in a lot of our communities, you look at a lot of our young brothers who feel like they're only in to a good life is maybe with a ball in their hand or a mic in their hand.
True.
When they get that first deal, they dealing with some dude who only sees $sign 9.5 times out of 10 don't look like him. He not even from the same demographic as him. And so he has no reason to think about you and to think about your influence on your community. He just knows feed the beast because the beast wants that negativity. And so when you are constantly feeding negativity, you think that that's all you can do. That's why when you hear shoot, B word, B word, B word, B word, you start thinking that's all your sisters are. You start thinking that your brothers ain't worth nothing. You start calling them the N word out their name and all that kind of stuff. And if you call me out my name, we might have to have a little more than a conversation. Next thing you know, it escalates, and guess where you at now? Yeah. You incarcerated. And if you incarcerated, you are probably under the same hand as the dude who signed you to that deal, because the record label and the private prison are run by, guess what? The same cats.
Same cats.
And see, people don't understand the knowledge behind that, and I know you do, and I know, and I respect the fact that you are talking to a lot of these young cats and helping them to understand that, because it's one of those things that is just difficult. One other thing that I want to kind of touch on before we jump out of this segment and take a break is when we were talking a little while ago about rappers, athletes, entertainers having a responsibility to show some sort of allegiance to the community. Over the weekend, you had two prominent athletes, one in basketball and one in football, who were seen publicly at the financial risk of themselves wearing T-shirts that said, "I can't breathe." And we know "I can't breathe" has become the battle cry for those supporters of Eric Garner, which was the gentleman that was choked out by the NYPD. Derrick Rose of the Chicago Bulls in the National Basketball Association, and Reggie Bush of the Detroit Lions of the National Football League, both seen wearing these shirts. What do you think about that?
I think that's cool. They're showing that they're conscious about it and they're aware and they feel some type of way and they want to show some type of support. And by other people watching them, being in a positions that they are in, is a good influence, and it causes a trickle effect. But at the same time, this sister lost her husband,
right?
And if she got 2 stars, paying attention to her like that, can y'all help her out with a nice fund,
right?
Because she lost her husband,
right?
And he might have been a breadwinner, or I know he was bringing in something, helping take care of, the family, and she's going to be in need, and I think that'd be the best point. I think a lot of times we just need to be blunt and get straight to the point,
Right.
instead of blowing smoke. And you know what I mean. And you know that's cool. You know, you're gonna represent, you know, with the shirts on and all that stuff like that. But what else?
Right.
We're gonna do. We always need to do more.
Right.
More. You know.
I think a lot
you
of
know.
times when you have someone in that position, they are the ones that spark the next person.
Yeah.
You know, some folks don't have it in them to actually be the one.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And they are a little bit more subtle in their leadership. Of course, the Reggie Bush and Derrick Rose were not without their detractors. And Derrick Rose in particular was someone that was met with detraction by an actual newscaster. And I'm looking to try to find the article now, but you got some folks who have a problem with the fact that he actually wore the shirt and was looking to support the family. They felt as though he as an athlete is not his place. I'm getting this article from thegrio.com. It's Dan Bernstein. He's a prominent sports radio host. He took to Twitter last night and expressed that he doesn't think that Rose, quote, understands what he's doing, end quote, and even if he did, isn't articulate enough to explain himself. Bernstein, so you can kind of gather who we dealing with here.
Yeah.
You know, and I don't say that disrespectfully. I speak that real talkly.
Yeah.
What you think about that, man? You got some folks that will try to silence those folks who try to speak, even if they speak silently, like Derrick Rose did. And that kind of, to me, speaks to the fact that when I asked you about hip-hop artists shifting their focus from socially conscious stuff to the more inflammatory hip-hop, it seems that there's certain folks in our community, not our individual community, but our community as a whole, that have a problem with us empowering ourselves. What you think about Mr. Bernstein saying that Derrick Rose doesn't, quote, understand what he's doing because he ain't articulate enough to explain himself? I don't know about you. I'm officially offended by that.
I mean, that's true. You know, I'm definitely offended about that too, because you know, these people in power. Like I said, man, you know, if you're going to connect with these people in power, I think you have to have the right knowledge and right business sense to secure yourself, you know, in a way where you don't have to accept certain things from the higher powers. You know what I'm saying? You wouldn't care. You know what I mean? And you know, dealing in the hands with these people, man, is like you feeling like you up under them, and they got some power over you.
Right.
You want to move, you want to say things, you want to do things, but you know you can't, and you can't fight against these people because you under their power.
Right.
You know what I mean? And it's like if we focus on the right business moves for ourselves, you know, then we can open our mouths more, say what we really want to say.
Right.
Because everybody riding the fence.
Right.
You know what I mean? When you riding the fence, you know, it's hard.
You don't know what you're supposed to be doing
Yeah,
on one
you know
side
what I
or
mean?
the
'Cause
other.
you don't know, I don't want to cough up this lifestyle, but you know, I do see things that's wrong. You know what I mean?
It's
But,
just,
you know,
it's hard. It's so hard for
Yeah.
me because I saw, you know, previous generations, mostly the generation before I came to understanding, where you had people like Lou Alcindor. Most folks know him as Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. You had Cassius Clay. Most folks know him as Muhammad Ali,
Yeah.
who gave up a lot. I mean, he gave up his livelihood. He gave up his
Yeah.
life. I don't know that I would expect today's athlete to go as far as Ali did. But open your mouth, man.
Yeah.
Open your
Yeah.
mouth. So when I see Derrick Rose and Reggie Bush, I made a point in social media to say that those two are my two new favorite athletes in their individual sports. Even though I don't root for the Bulls.
Yeah.
The Bulls caused me too much pain and heartache in the 90s for
Yeah,
me to
yeah,
ever
yeah,
root
yeah.
for them. And the Lions are irrelevant to me. But I love Derrick Rose and I love Reggie Bush
Yeah.
for what they did over the weekend. Ain't no how stepping with Marcus J.
Yeah, they did the
804-402-2893. All right, we're going to take our first break of the night. And when we come back, we still got Big Nine. He's hanging out with us for the night. And, of course, the longtime listeners know we always ask the question, what the hell? we gonna ask what the hell. We got another incident of a cop killing an unarmed man, and when you hear the specifics on this one, you gonna be like, really? And Fox News is back at it. They said that minorities need to be. I'm not gonna tell you. You gotta keep listening. Marcus J. Ain't no how stepping with Marcus J. With my brother Big Nod. We gonna hear his cut Dreamer right after this word from our sponsor, Live Action Captions. Be back in a few minutes.
Movemakers.